Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bitcower, I assume that as a United States citizen, you would agree with me that I am afforded certain protections by our Constitution and laws.
That's correct, sir.
And that an individual in Ireland would be also afforded certain protections by their laws.
Yes, sir.
And we have a treaty between the United States and the United Kingdom that recognizes those protections, and both countries agreed to.
Both the United Kingdom and with Ireland, yes, sir. Separate treaties.
Excuse me. And when we, when the Department of Justice goes around that treaty, you have made a decision that, and I assume it's fair to say that you went around the treaty by getting information in the Microsoft case outside of the processes created by that treaty.
So I would actually disagree with that, sir. The treaty between the United States and Ireland, first of all, let me back up. At the time the request was made in the Microsoft case, the Department of Justice had no knowledge that the data was stored in Ireland. Typically, we would not be aware of that information unless we're told by the provider after it happened.
Did you withdraw your request when you learned that the information was stored in Ireland?
So that brings me to the second point, sir, which is that many mutual legal assistance treaties do not require that they are the exclusive mechanism for getting data from one country to another.
Well, is there a just kidding clause in that treaty? Is there something in the treaty that says, well, you don't really have to follow the treaty. You can do anything you want. This is just one way of getting information.
Well, so in essence, sir, the treaty does say it is one way of getting information. That's, sir, it is not the only way of getting information.
And so, do you recognize the situation you have put, does the Department of Justice recognize the situation you have put American corporations in across the world when you go around treaties and use a completely separate process? Why would any country want to do business with an American corporation if America has access to that information all across the world?
So again, sir, I have to emphasize that we do not go around treaties if those treaties do not require that they have the exclusive mechanism.
You said you used a different process to get
correct.
information. Now that's not going around a treaty?
It's not, sir. The treaty does not require that it be the exclusive mechanism
so
for
answer
transfer
my question.
data.
Do you recognize the situation you have put American corporations in across the world?
So if our actions did create a true conflict of laws, we would recognize that as a serious problem.
I didn't ask about conflict of law. We're trying to do business with other countries. And if the Department of Justice has a way of going around a treaty and getting information from an American corporation for an Irish citizen on an Irish server, why would any country want to do business, or any citizens in any country want to do business with American corporations?
So again, sir, I need to specify the discussion in terms of the Microsoft case does not necessarily involve an Irish citizen or a person in Ireland. It's data that happens to be stored in Ireland. It could belong to, as far as the record is clear, a citizen of any country, including an American citizen. That is to say, the only fact we know about it from the record of that case is that the company has chosen to store that information in Ireland. If, for example, it belongs to an American citizen, or a citizen committing a crime who's located in America, I think we would all agree that the United States has a legitimate interest in obtaining that information as expeditiously as possible.
Are you going to answer my question? Why would an American company, why would anybody want to do business with an American company overseas if the United States has access to any information it so chooses by going around a treaty?
So again, sir, if there is a conflict of laws, we would take that seriously. And if that's brought to our attention, we absolutely will do everything we can to
I'm not talking about the laws, though. I'm talking about the competitive disadvantage you are placing American companies in.
So my understanding is, from what we've heard from companies, certainly the competitive disadvantage, if any, comes from the fact that they are placed in conflicting legal obligations. That is, one country tells them to do one thing, another tells them to do another. If that comes to our attention, we take it seriously, and American law already also takes that seriously. The situation we're talking about now is, however, where data may be stored in a country with no connection to that country other than the fact that it's chosen to be stored there. It could be information of vital importance to the United States and information with very little connection to Ireland. And in that case, we just need to have a mechanism to make sure we can get that data to the United States to protect American citizens. If it turns out there's a conflict of law at any point, if that's brought to our attention by the company or by the country itself, then obviously we would have further work to do and further discussions to be had. I want to clarify that has not happened in the Microsoft case.
If Microsoft is put in a position where, or any American company, and frankly, what's most bothersome to me is Microsoft has the resources to battle with the Department of Justice. A startup company, a company with 10, 12 employees in a similar situation would just cave. The coercive effect of the government would be placed on a company like that, and they couldn't, they don't have the resources to fight the Department of Justice. But in this situation, a foreign citizen would not want to do business with a U.S. company if that U.S. company is forced by the U.S. government to turn over information that's located in that foreign country. And I'm concerned about that.
So again, sir, that's the very purpose of the U.S.-UK framework that we're trying to explore now, is to find ways of eliminating those conflicts of laws, prevent any competitive disadvantage to our companies, but do it in a careful way that allows legitimate investigations to take place both on our behalf and on behalf of foreign governments in a way that respects privacy.
I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.